What's going on, YouTube family? Welcome to Automotive Life. My name is Lucky, and today we're going to be talking about EV values. Now, in my last few videos, I talked about how truck, cars, and SUV values were dropping quite significantly. And a lot of people in the comment section kept saying, oh, well, you should have bought an EV. They're the future. They're the best cars. Well, I hate to break it to you guys. EV is the fastest falling sector when it comes to vehicle values and as far as also new car sales. So unfortunately, you guys may have to go out and grab a tissue, especially a lot of you Tesla fanboys. I'm going to save you guys till the end. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't hate EVs. I'm just not a big fan of them. But the infrastructure in the United States is not really set up yet to help all these people charge their cars at once. With charging or supercharging of America having a lot of issues with their charging system, to Tesla trying to keep up with the demand of putting charging stations in different cities and states, it's going to take a lot for us to get to the goal of being all electric in 2035. I still think we're probably another 30 to 40 years down the road. But anyways, let's go ahead and get into the vehicle values. So the numbers we're going to be using for vehicle values is called MMR, which is auction wholesale numbers. This is from Cox Automotive, Mannheim. You can find this online. The reason why I'm using these numbers is to let you guys know what dealers are paying for them at auction and also what banks are letting them go for and what banks are probably going to lend on them. That's why this number is so important. That's why I use this reference to let people know. Now, the first car we're going to be talking about is Ioniq 5 from Hyundai. Now, when these things came out, I actually like the styling, the way they're built. The build quality is actually a little bit better than the Model 3, and it has similar range, and it's about, I think, $10,000 cheaper. So let's see how these cars were doing last year. So if we look, these things were selling at auction for around $48,000. Fast forward to 6 months, you're looking at $36,500. So we lost $10,000 in value in 6 months, which is pretty crazy. So if we look in the past 30 days, if you've noticed, the numbers are zero. Now, the reason why I believe that they're zero is because a lot of people, dealers, bought these cars for way too much money, probably around the $40,000 to $38,000 range, and they can't sell them. So they take them to auction, and there's not enough inventory to sell at their auction for them to get a base price. But if you look right next to it, it says future projections for somewhere around $26,000. So that lets me know that the data that they do have is basically letting you know that the market's going to be even softer. So in 1 year's time from today, they've actually dropped over $20,000 in value, which is absolutely insane. So it lost half its value in just that short of time. Now, don't get me wrong. I think EVs are great, but when you see stuff like this is what worried me, was the actual resale of these cars. Now remember, a lot of these people out there were buying these things over MSRP. Now luckily Hyundais weren't going too crazy over MSRP, so most people got them for that. But just imagine some of these other cars we're going to be talking about, a lot of these people paid way over MSRP. Now the next car on our list is a 2020 Mach-E. Now when these things first came out, people absolutely hated the styling. They hated the fact that they used the Mustang name, and so it got a lot of bad reviews. But as people were driving it and using it, it kind of grew on people and it kind of got a cult-like following, and people started buying these cars. They had a lot of software and other issues that caused them to drop pretty significantly when it comes to the demand. So let's see currently what they're going for. Now, if you would have purchased one of these things a year ago, you'd be paying somewhere around $49,700. Now, these things MSRP'd around $60,000, most of them, and a lot of people were paying $10,000 to $20,000 over MSRP. So just imagine that right from the first year when they bought it, it already dropped, $20,000 in value. So let's fast forward to 6 months. You're looking at a drop of over $10,000 all the way down to $34,000. So it's a very scary thing. You can kind of see this trend when it comes to electric cars. Now, if we look in the last 30 days, the average one is selling at auction for about $26,000. Now, you can get on Car Gurus and stuff like this, and the average retail price of these things online is around $35,000. So that's letting you know that there's almost a $10,000 discrepancy from retail prices to auction prices. So if you purchase one of these things, just know that you're going to be upside down a little bit. Now, if you look at next month's future projection, it's putting it somewhere around $25,600. Now, I'm actually going to go against the grain. I believe these are actually going to go up. The reason why is because believe it or not, for low 20s, this is a great deal for an electric car. And I think it's a little bit cooler than some of the other ones that are out there. So I believe that when affordability becomes a factor and how interest rates are going up, I think people are going to lean on the Mach-E a little bit more. Like I said, it got a really bad rep for the systems to having issues and a lot of the other things. But I think that now that people are driving them, they're starting to fall back in love with them. Now let's jump into the luxury segment. Now, luxury cars were probably the biggest growing segment during the pandemic. People absolutely wanted the highest limit trim levels and stuff like that. And so Audi came out with the e-tron GT. Now, I absolutely love this car, the styling of it. I think it's great. A lot of the interiors absolutely blow you away. It's nicer than my R8, which costs almost double the price. But I wanted to see how these things were doing because I remember seeing a report of banks running these repos and not selling them. And I didn't believe it, but after running these numbers, now I see why. So these things were selling for about $10,000 to $20,000 over MSRP here in Las Vegas. The one that I was looking at, the similar model equipped to this, was selling for about $135,000 with the markup. So if we look last year, there's nothing on there because these cars were still new. They were still in the showroom floors. So let's fast forward because, like I said, people are paying $125,000 to $130,000 for these things. 6 months ago, it dropped all the way to $74,000 for the average price at auction. Fast forward another few months, and in the last 30 days, it's dropped $10,000 in value just from there. Now, this is a great looking car. The build quality is great. Why did it drop so significantly? Now, I tried to find things online. My friends that own these cars absolutely love them, and I honestly don't know why. So if you own one of these things, please leave it in the comment section below on why you think the values have dropped, because I actually like these cars. I'll be honest with you, if I can get one of these things for like 45, 50K, I might buy one just so I can have an EV and talk trash on the channel about it. But these things are really nice cars, so I'm shocked that it dropped that much. And future projections have it dropping in the next 30 days an additional $3,000. Now, I'm not going to comment on this one because, like I said, I don't know enough about this particular model, but it's really sad to see that there's people out there with $120,000 loans, and if they go to trade them in next year, they're probably going to get offered about $60,000 for their car. Now, the next car on our list is a 2020 Porsche Taycan Turbo. Now, when these things came out, they were kind of the fun, exciting, exotic car / luxury car that was going to compete with Tesla. Now, I remember there's a huge line for these things, and people were paying stupid amounts of money. I personally had a friend that I think paid about $180,000, $190,000 for his 2021 Porsche Taycan. So let's see what they're currently going for at the auction right now. So if you looked last year, even though these are still selling for a little bit below what the MSRP was, it's about $134,000, which is good because traditionally Porsches are holding their value, especially the 911s. But if we fast forward to 6 months, we lost $20,000 in value. We dropped all the way down to $119,000. Fast forward again, at the last 30 days, we're down to $103,000. That's another $20,000 off. So if we look at next month's projection of $95,000, from now till last year, we've lost over $38,000 in value, which is absolutely insane in just 1 year's time. Now, the reason why I picked this particular car is because it wasn't a new car. It was something that was already a few years old. So this way we can actually see what the true depreciation of the car is, because we all know when you buy a brand new car, it drops like a rock the second you drive it off. But seeing almost $38,000 in value disappear in a year is heartbreaking. And once again, some of these people purchase these things brand new for $170, $180, and look where they're at now. Now, the next one we're going to be going over is absolutely horrendous. I'm going to put this out there. If you plan on buying one of these Mercedes EQSs, do not do it. Stay away, stop, and just wait. Now, this particular model I'm looking at is a 2022 that's for sale here in Las Vegas. It's a brand new car that's a 2022. So that just lets you know it hasn't even sold yet. And they're selling it online right now for $132,000. So let's go ahead and check and see what the market is on this 2022 EQS. So as of last year, if you were to take this thing to auction, you're looking at about $115,000. Now, the one that here in Vegas, like I said, is for $132,000. So they've already lost $20,000 in value of it not being sold, just right off the get-go. And the scary thing is when these things came out, there were a few people that were paying 10, 20, 30K over MSRP. So those people absolutely buried. So let's fast forward 6 months. It drops all the way down to $83,000. That is a massive hit in 6 months. So let's go ahead and fast forward to 30 days from now. Now at auction, these things are averaging around $76,000. So look at that massive flop. They lost over $30-something thousand in value in 1 year, just like that. And if you look at next month's projection, this one says it's actually going up, which I have to disagree with this because I don't know anybody looking for these cars. Now the lights, the systems and everything in it look amazing. I haven't drove one myself yet, so I have to basically say that. But from what I've seen online, they do look really cool. So I'd love to find out from your guys' opinion, if you could put in the comment section below, why did these EQSs absolutely fail? It kind of blows my mind. Now, the higher the trim level is, the bigger the drop when it comes to the value of these. If you get like a really low base model one, they seem to have about a $20,000 drop, not the steep drop that they're having in the 30s, but it's quite a bit of money. But I'd love to know why this is falling so quickly, just like the e-tron. So we finally made it to Teslas. We're gonna be going over 2 models. Now, before I get into the numbers, I wanna make a quick disclaimer. I believe that what Elon Musk did to Tesla by actually dropping the price on new cars absolutely screwed these people, and this is proof. Now, when I made these things, people took my clips and they actually went viral. A few people got 1 million views off it. Like, how could you say that's a bad thing that they're lowering prices of new cars? That's a great thing. They're helping people get more affordable cars. But the problem is he screwed everybody that had a used car, because now you could buy a brand new Tesla cheaper than you could buy 1-year-old used models. So if you bought one that was brand new a year ago, you're pretty much upside down right from the get-go. And we're going to get into these numbers. Now, the first car we're going to be going over is a 2020 Model 3. Now, my girlfriend actually drives this car, so I wanted to see what the values of this particular car were. Now, if you look right here, the value of the car last year was $38,000, which doesn't seem too bad for a moderately priced vehicle. Now, remember, these things were going for $40,000, $50,000 during the pandemic, so they're already upside down quite a bit. Fast forward 6 months ago, it dropped to $33,000. So not as bad as the others, but pretty significant. Now, in the last 30 days, this thing dropped all the way down to $28,000. Now, with the affordability of electric cars, I think these are probably going to stay closer to where they're at, just like the Ioniq 5. As far as I can tell, for 20,000 bucks for an EV car that's pretty good, I don't see the problem with it. Now, I don't like Tesla's build quality. I believe it's shit compared to a lot of the other ones. But for the bargain of $28,000, I don't think it's a bad deal. So we're on our final car, which is a 2021 Tesla Plaid. Now, the reason why I picked this specific vehicle is because my friend currently is driving this car and he tried to trade it in, and he told me the trade-in amount of what the actual Tesla dealership was trying to give him, and it blew my mind. So I ran the numbers and I found a lot of bad things, and I shared it with him, and so I want to share it with you guys as well. Now, he purchased this car at the end of 2021, probably middle of 2022, I think is when he got it, and he paid $129,000 for it. Fully loaded, all the bells and whistles, it's exactly what he wanted. But, he just had a kid. He wanted to get, I believe, an X, and so he wanted to get something a little bit newer, so he's going to trade it in, and when he found out that trade-in amount, he just was very upset. So let's go ahead and show you. As of last year, these things are selling for about $101,000 at auction. So you can see that they were still in demand. People were still wanting these things. I remember these things were selling way over MSRP. People would buy these things, and as soon as they got their allocation, they flip them. I remember he told me he had an offer for $150 because somebody wanted to buy his car and didn't want to wait for his allocation, but he decided to drive it. Big mistake. Well, we fast forward 6 months from now, and you're looking at $81,000. So he's already lost a massive amount of money when it comes to value. Now, in the past 30 days, these things are trading for around $67,000. Now, the reason why this number is so significant is when my friend took it into Tesla to trade it in, they told him they were going to give him $62,000 to $65,000 for his vehicle because he had some aftermarket wheels he had to replace and put them back on. But look at that. A year ago, maybe a little bit more than a year, he's lost over 65, 70% of the vehicle value like that. Now, like I said, I blame a lot of this on Tesla itself for dropping the prices. I think it hurt a lot of people. And I know right now there's people watching this that are probably swallowing their tongues, realizing that they owe $130,000 on a car that's worth about $60,000. I know it sucks. I know it's heartbreaking, but unfortunately, that's the current market of the EVs. Now, I know I joke and I make fun of EVs and EV owners and stuff like that, but my heart does go out to a lot of them because they are buried in these cars. And these are the fastest depreciating cars of all the models. Trucks, SUVs, sports cars, all of them. EVs are number one. Now, I can sit there and go through all these makes and models and everything else, but you can see just from a few of those cars and how fast the book drops compared to my other videos. If you haven't watched them, go back and watch now. You're seeing maybe $3,000, $4,000 in value drop within a year. We're talking $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. I think the average drop on all these cars per year across the board was around $20,000, which is just insane for the auto market. Now, unfortunately, I think the EV market is going to get worse because as interest rates go up, it's going to make it harder and harder to buy one of these cars. People just simply can't afford the payments. And if you already own an EV, I think it's going to hurt you even more because what they're going to do is these dealers are offering insane rebates now. They're offering 0% financing to sell their EVs because they're just sitting on the lot, not moving. You can go to just about any dealership and most of the new cars they have sitting there are unfortunately electric vehicles. So you need to basically see where you're at in your loan. If you're upside down, start making payments because when these dealerships start offering 0% financing and all these crazy rebates, it's going to drag the value of your vehicle down because why are they going to buy your 1 to 2 year old used car when they can buy a brand new one for the same price at 0%? And that's where we're heading. And this is why I think the EV market is going to get worse and worse as time goes on. But anyways, I would love to know your opinions on the EV market. Do you think that it's going to wrap around and go up, or do you think EVs are going to go down? I know this is a hot topic, so I want to stay open-minded to hear your guys' opinion. Now here in Vegas, I don't know what it is. Nobody wants them. And I heard on the East Coast, it gets very cold, so people don't want to have that battery, whatever degradation, where they're basically charged 100%, and as soon as they drive it off the lot, it drops down to maybe 75% because of the cold. So if that's a real thing, I'd love to hear that too. We talked about how the Ford F-150 Lightning is basically flopped because people are talking about all kinds of battery problems. So if you know anything about this, please share in the comment section below. Once again, if you learned anything, please like and subscribe. We're on the road to 500K. Also follow us on Instagram at Lucky Lopez, and we'll see you next video.